Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, has recently launched into early access, and today what we're going to do is go over a few things that you need to know about the game and check out whether you should buy it or not. I've put in a fair few hours so far, and honestly, I'm really enjoying it. It is a great game. If you're after AAA studio sort of polish and graphics, then this is probably not one for you. But if you're after an engaging storyline, brilliant combat, and loads of other fun stuff that all RPG games entail, then it's definitely worth checking this one out. The game was released into early access on the 30th of March for around $30, with over 15 hours of content in this first chapter of the game. There will be continually updating and adding more chapters as early access progresses, and all of this will be for free. It is developed by Questline and published by Awaken Realms. Awaken Realms are actually quite interesting as they make a load of really awesome board games. One by the same name, Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, which is what the game is based upon. Now, one thing to note is the game is in early access. So as I said, if you're after AAA level graphics or a decent amount of polish, then it's probably not the game for you. But the storyline is brilliant so far from what I've seen. And they're going to continue to add more to the storyline. And the story is all about King Arthur is long dead, and all myths and legends are falling. Humans living in Avalon are desperately trying to find new ways of life and things to believe in. The plague of Red Death and the spreading weirdness are not helping. Time is running out, and multiple factions have their own plans for the future of the island. The realm is slowly but surely sinking into chaos. You're imprisoned in a damp underground cell. This is where you are nobody, but you might be the one to save the land of everlasting autumn. Some of the core features are a massive open world and a very dark and gritty storyline, along with dungeons, brilliant combat, which is really fluid, and I really enjoyed the way that the combat felt. You can customize your character any way that you choose. If you want to strike from the shadows or be an all-out madman and run around with a mace, then you can do both of those things, or all of those things depending on what loadout you have. You will also come across various NPCs, factions, and enemies that you have to take on. Some of the enemies are pretty ruthless and pretty damn big, so you're going to need to develop your skills and progress your character in a way that will help you take on some of those larger creatures. But the creatures aren't the only threat. There are also human factions that want to stop you any way and any means they possibly can. There's also a trading system in-game where you can go to various vendors and trade all your unwanted items. So if you're like me and you've got sticky fingers and you pick up everything that you could possibly find, then you've got somewhere to sell it. But if you don't want to sell it and you want to hoard it, it will have other uses, as you can craft as well in the game. You can craft various items from all of the things that you see, and the majority of the things you see dotted around the game you can actually pick up. If you're not going to be able to craft it or trade it, then you can cook it. You'll be able to craft and cook yourself some really cool meals based on a various amount of recipes that are in-game. Or you could just be a complete strange madman like I was and just mix anything together and see what comes out. You may end up with inedible slop, or you could create a Michelin star masterpiece. So along your journey, you're going to encounter various people that you'll be able to talk with that will give you quests, and you'll be able to learn a hell of a lot more about the lore and the story of Avalon. You'll be able to find out what's going on, where you are, and a lot about King Arthur, which very interesting. But I won't give away too much of the storyline. When it comes to combat did feel really fun. It did feel a little bit slow, but maybe that's because I've not maxed out skills and things like that yet. But from what I can feel of it, it feels fun. It is easy to get along with, and some of the enemies are quite a threat. Although combat did feel a little bit slow in some parts, when you've got multiple enemies coming after you, it can get very tense. And depending on your weapons and the style of combat that you choose to play, there are various ways that a combat encounter can actually play out. So that does make things a little bit interesting. You can go stealth with your bow and arrow and take targets out from a distance. Or if you really want, get up close and personal and just beat people with a hammer or potentially a really long ass sword. The combat does feel nice and fluid, especially for an early access title. I wasn't really hoping for much when going into the combat. I just thought, it'd be a bit Yankee, you could hit a few things and it might go well, it might not. But every combat encounter that I had felt really good. It felt fluid and it felt fun. The world of Avalon is also massive and really detailed and beautiful looking. Don't get me wrong, the graphics aren't AAA and it doesn't look absolutely phenomenal, but it looks really cool. Everything is trying to tell a story, which I think is a brilliant way to go with an RPG and a game that has a lot of lore behind it. And there's so many different areas that you can find, so many different spots that you'll see. Everything looks really dark and dingy, and it looks threatening and menacing, which I really like about this. But then there's other parts where you get the sunlight just right, and it looks really, really nice and peaceful. There's also dark dungeons and ancient ruins that you can go through. In some of the dungeons and hidden caves, you'll find loads of creatures that you can fight, get very valuable resources from, and potentially find some secrets and some hidden lore. Character customization as a general thing it's a little bit lacking. There's not really much you can do, but I'm assuming they're going to expand on that in future updates. When it comes to skills and stuff, there's a fair few things you can mess around with the skills. There's around about 9, I think it's 9 or 12 skill points on each branch, and then you've got several branches which you can branch off of, which it gives you a good little thing. You can mix things up and create a character that you want, rather than going through one set path of just upgrading this, and this. There are several things that you can do depending on the skill points that you've got. Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, is actually based on a board game, and as you can see here, this is it in the background. The figurines look really, really cool. Very interesting, especially if you are massively into board games. I do like them. I'm starting to dabble in a few little bits, so this is definitely going to be one that I'm excited to check out. If you are interested in the board game, then the link to their site is in the description down below, so go check that out. For now, though, we're going to wrap that one up there. Hopefully this has helped you decide whether you want to check out Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, or not. If it has or it hasn't, please let me know in the comments down below. I greatly appreciate it. Also, please let me know about the delivery of the review, because it's the first time that I've actually reviewed a game properly, so hopefully it works out and I've helped either sway or not sway some people. But either way, drop some comments down below, let me know what you think. Also drop a like on the video. If you do want to support the channel a little bit further, consider becoming a member. For now though, I've been Wired, you guys have been awesome. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.